one day, she dropped an entire plate of dumplings. And those little round dumplings rolled right out the door. They rolled down the path. They rolled over the road. They rolled into the woods. They kept right on rolling until they came to a tree where they stopped. Bump! The old woman chased her dumplings into the woods. Just as she bent down to pick up her dumplings, someone reached out and grabbed them and ran off deeper into the woods. And the old woman yelled,
"Hey, that's my supper!"
Now she knew that an oni had stolen her dumplings. Everyone in Japan knows that onis are hairy little creatures with horns who live in the woods. They are always hungry. They love to eat sweets. Most people leave them alone, but the old woman was so angry. She ran after the oni who had stolen her supper. She chased that oni into a hole in the side of a hill that led into a tunnel that went down inside the earth. Suddenly, she found herself standing in a large, wide cave full of onis. They were wildly chewing her dumplings, smiling, laughing, and licking their lips with glee. And the oni leader asked,
"Who is the cook who made these scrumptious, sweet dumplings?" "I am the cook who made them."
I'm the one.
"I am the one who picked and how you dress around little dumplings."
Keep going.
"I am the one who cooked those dumplings for my supper, not yours. And I'm still hungry, you rude little thief."
Well, the oni leader answered,
Oh dear, your dumplings were so scrumptious we quite forgot for a minute. Now will you please be our guest? You can cook out your supper right here in our kitchen. You can make plenty of dumplings, and we all will have dumplings for supper.
Now the oni shouted and cheered for more dumplings. Their voices were loud in the large, wide cave, and they rubbed their bellies and yelled,
"More dumplings! More dumplings!"
Now the old woman followed the oni leader to the oni kitchen and said to herself,
"Goodness me! I am alone in this cave with a whole pack of onis. How will I ever get out of here?"
but she was not afraid.
"I'll think of something. I'll get out of this oni cave."
And she sang to herself.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'll find a way out of this oni cave. I'll take my dragons to the float away. Goodbye, onis. Goodbye.
An underground stream ran through the oni kitchen. The oni leader dipped a bucket into the stream and filled a large pot with water. He put the pot over the fire, then handed the old woman 1 grain of rice and said,
Put this rice in the water and stir it with this dragon's food.
She said,
You must be joking. 1 grain of rice will not make a meal for a family of mice. If you want dumplings for your whole family, you will need to give me much more rice than this.
Well, the oni laughed and picked up a long red spoon with a dragon carved into its handle. He stirred the pot with the long red spoon. The single grain of rice turned into 10. Now the old woman stirred the rice with a long red spoon. The 10 grains of rice turned into 20.
Hey, Sara!
She stirred the rice again. The 20 grains of rice turned into 30, and soon the pot was full. And she said,
Well, isn't this the perfect spoon?
now she made supper for everyone. And while she quietly ate her dumplings, the onis were laughing and talking and stuffing dumplings into their mouths as if they hadn't eaten in weeks. Their voices were loud in the large, wide cave, but the old woman was not afraid. Okay, now we're going to switch scene 3. The old woman is going to be played by Beatrice. That way everybody gets a chance. So put on your costume. Okay, so here's the old woman now, and she is still cooking for the onis.
Oh, yeah, not there.
I know.
I know.
That's all right. We have powers of imagination here. It doesn't matter. It's okay, honey. Okay. And
But the exercising, how to cook all day and night in its own cave.
she said, as long as I'm trapped in this Oni cave, but I'll figure something.
I want to catch in the only cave while I do something.
And she sang.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm
Now she returned to the Oni kitchen. This time she filled the pot with water herself, put 1 grain of rice into the pot and stirred it with a long red spoon. Just as before, the single grain of rice turned into 10. She stirred the rice again. The 10 grains of rice turned into 20, and soon the pot was full. Now she pounded the rice into flour, patted the flour into dumplings, and served another big batch of dumplings to the Onis. Just as before, they gobbled them up and cheered for more.
More dumplings! More!
But this time when the old woman went to the stream to fill the pot with water, she remembered something.
Onis don't swim. And it don't travel in a boat.
And
If I had a boat, I can float down the stream. I can float down the stream. I can escape.
So she thought of the big rice pot and made a plan for her escape. Now the old woman sang while she put the rice into the pot. And she sang while she stirred the rice with the spoon. Now the Onis loved the old woman singing. Her soft voice made them feel sleepy. And by the time the dumplings were ready to eat, the Onis were sound asleep. So the old woman dragged the big rice pot down to the stream and climbed into it. I don't know if you're going to be able to pretend. Climbed into it, pushed it out into the stream with a long red spoon. But she was so excited she forgot to sing, and the Onis woke up. When they saw the old woman floating down the stream in the rice pot, they began to yell.
More dumplings! More dumplings!
Watch that handle. Now there was only one way the Onis could stop the old woman. They bent down on their knees and began to drink up all the water in the stream. They slurped, and they slurped, and they slurped until their cheeks were bulging with water. The more the Onis slurped up the stream, the smaller the stream became. Soon there was barely any water in the stream, and the old woman's boat slowed down. But she was not afraid. She said,
I'll think of something. I'll get out of this.
now there was so little water in the stream that fish started jumping into the old woman's boat. She grabbed hold of the fish and threw them at the Onis. Billy, your belly's the fish. Go ahead, dear. Whoa! That was not intended. Yeah, fill your bellies with fish.
Billy Bear the fish, Onis.
She kept right on paddling with that long red spoon. Now the hungry little Onis opened their mouths to catch the fish. The stream water gushed out of their mouths and filled up the stream, and the old woman's boat sailed quickly away. Goodbye, Onis.
Goodbye, Onis. Goodbye.
Now soon she couldn't see those Onis at all. She sailed along through the rushing stream in the big rice pot. After a while, the stream flowed through a hole in the cave out into the light of day. The old woman climbed out of the pot, took the long red spoon and ran through the woods to the road and up the path. She ran into her house and slammed the door. Then she started to sing. And she began to cook. With a long red spoon, the single grain of rice from her cupboard turned into 10. 10 grains of rice turned into 20, 20 into 30, and soon she had enough rice to make dumplings for the entire town. Soon people were coming from far and wide to taste her delicious dumplings. Ding dong!
Oh, señorita, your dumplings. I have come to taste them. We have come to taste them. We have come to taste them.
Give us some dumplings, darling.
Bueno, muy bueno. Muy delicioso.
Ding dong. Now, with the help of the long red spoon, she had enough dumplings to feed the whole town, and she opened a restaurant on the porch of her house. People came from far and wide. I said that. I'm repeating myself. So soon she was one of the richest women in all of Japan. Even so, every night after she had closed the restaurant, she took a plate of dumplings down to the tree, to the place where she had first seen the oni, and left some dinner for all the hungry little onis. The end!